All right. Hello. My name is Lance, and this is BraveNewLove Live. I have been meaning to create some content for BraveNewLove that wasn't written for some time now, whether it be audio or video. But I've been spending most of my time both creating and then building my massage practice, which is currently on pause due to COVID-19 and coronavirus, which we'll talk to or speak to a little bit later. That all said, I've got some extra time on my hands now, as many of us do, and so I'm going to kind of dip my toes into some of these other mediums, with BraveNewLive being the very first thing. So my original idea for a BraveNewLive show would basically just be a semi-regular touch point where I have a conversation with the community and we talk through everything authenticity related. And then basically let you know some of the resources and things that are going on with BraveNewLove that you might want to check out. Since, again, we've got so much stuff going on in the world right now, I realize that we kind of have to be smart with what we pick and choose in terms of what we read and what we're watching, just because the internet is so loud. So that's what BraveNewLove Live is. I'm gonna call it BNLlive just because that's a mouthful. It's not gonna be a quick, crazy fast video. Settle in, get comfortable. I've got some hot tea because they said there would be hot tea, right, Mariah? And I'm sitting in a super comfy chair, and hopefully we'll just be able to have a conversation about authenticity. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's talk. So BraveNewLove was a brand that I created to encourage other folks to live authentically. As a person who grew up in a really small town that was pretty conservative and religious, and a person who is LGBTQ, I created a lot of rules and structures and perceptions based off of signals that the world was sending me on how I needed to behave and how I needed to present myself in the world. And those, over time, created a lot of problems for me in my life from a mental health perspective, that resonated to basically all of my well-being. So BraveNewLove originally was one part just my authenticity journey and sharing that with the world. But the second part, again, is encouraging others to either do the self-work that they need to do to live authentically themselves, because it is really validating and it is amazing to basically feel that external validation for your true being, and not a performance that you're putting on for other people, but also to create space and actively create space so that other people feel comfortable going through that process. Because basically, no matter who you are, whether you're LGBTQ or not, the world and society are basically sending signals or telling us all the time how we need to modify who we are to fit into a certain space. Problematic, it can, like I said, create problems with overall well-being, and that's what we're trying to fight against. So we do that by having discussions on the three core tenets. I would say the BraveNewLove intention is to create space for others to live authentically through discussion of life, wellness, and faith. I picked those three because those were three areas that over the course of my years and kind of going through my own authenticity journey, those were the big, broad topics that I needed to focus on or have conversations about that really helped me get to where I am today and continually help me to get where I need to go. So, hi Matthew, hello. Basically, to break each one of those up, because that's how we're going to break the live up today into sections. with a little synopsis. Life is the big stuff. It's not just the, hey, how are you? I'm fine. How's the weather? It's the real day-to-day that's going on with our lives that's impacting how, again, we interact with the world and loved ones around us. So we'll be talking about something regarding life today. The next one is wellness, more or less overall emotional and physical well-being and living wholeheartedly. I've attacked that primarily with BraveNewLove by offering massage services in the past up until now. And then the final one is faith, which I define as a faith that is not tied to a specific religion or deity. It's more or less faith is defined that we're all connected as a society, and we basically benefit by lifting each other up. So if you can get on board with that concept, hopefully the faith aspects of BraveNewLove are encouraging for you. I understand that folks have some traumas and some hesitations with any rhetoric that is at all considered like religious, and I'm I try to be very knowledgeable about that, or like mindful of that when I'm writing content and choosing what to share. So again, it's never with the purpose of trying to create more trauma or harm for people on that front. Anyway, so we're going to talk through each one of those today on the live pretty quickly. And end with a community question and then a community shout out, and then be done for the day. So the first topic would be life, and the biggest thing that we are all experiencing right now is obviously COVID-19, coronavirus. It's a big reason why I wanted to put some more information out into the world as an authenticity company that has a pretty strong massage and mobile massage component in order to stay profitable. It's something that we need to talk about. So I'll talk about it personally first. We've been self-quarantining since March 13th. That was a Friday the 13th, woo, when my partner came in from some pretty extensive travel over the last few weeks from work. And between that and then the fact that I actually have asthma, which is puts me at a more of an at-risk category with the disease, I just decided to suspend mobile massage services that following Monday. So I guess that would have been Monday the 15th. Because if you really think about it, there's just, even though mobile massage is one-on-one, you're introducing all of the different contacts that you've had that day and all the different contacts that the client has had that day, extrapolating that out over the course of multiple massages in a day and multiple in a week, and you're just creating more opportunities for that virus to spread. So I had already made the call to suspend massage therapy services a few days before the state locked them down completely. So I had already come to that understanding that, I wasn't going to be able to make money from massage in that way. And that's okay. Again, still just talking about the personal aspect of it. I haven't really gone outside too much or interacted with the world since social distancing on the 13th. I've gone on some runs and some walks, and then I went and I picked up something from the pharmacy, but that is it. So I feel like if there's a leaderboard for social distancing, I'm up there, and it definitely has taken a toll on me as a social butterfly individual. So if it has for you too, again, that's the kind of thought for stuff like this, is to engage and to be alone apart, or no, together apart. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, I actually put on pants today because I wanted to feel more normal, which is very different from what I would have previously done prior to starting BraveNewLove. I would have said, no, I don't want to wear jeans. I want to wear shorts or whatever. Anyway, so that's just a little insight into how things are going personally. And then professionally, again, no longer offering the massage services. Pretty hopeful that might change in the future, but realistic and pragmatic, just based off of like the little introduction into epidemiology that I had in college when I was getting my health science degree, that this will potentially be a little bit longer of a tale for how we have to change our behavior. So massage might not be something that I'm able to offer for a while. I realized that other wellness practitioners are not able to just have the luxury of no longer offering their services. I personally, like many millennials, had a handful of side hustles, and one of my side hustles was teaching online ESL classes to kids that are in China. So I'm just going to lean into that and do that full time right now, which has changed my schedule. I have like really early mornings, really late nights. But it's been fun. It's been and just a good and like blessed experience to be able to have that opportunity. And then in terms of BraveNewLove content specific to COVID-19, I find it interesting and funny in the sake that I am laughing at myself of how my perception of COVID-19 has changed over the course of the last 3 or 4 months. So like I said, I've been teaching ESL classes to children in China. So I've been seeing virtually on the screen the effects that COVID-19 has been having on the lives of my students and their families. It started off with, just them not being able to go outside as much to completely being locked down. And I got to the point where you would see masks in the background where all the family members were basically congregating and not able to leave. And the kids were spending, days to weeks to months where they weren't able to go outside, and they got really stir crazy. So all that to say, I was able to see it virtually, but I never really thought about it coming over to America. It never really stuck in my head that our behaviors would need to change this much, which I find to be the humorous part, because you can only laugh at ignorance, I feel like sometimes, and just give yourself a little bit of grace and realize that it's okay to be ignorant on some things sometimes. But it obviously has changed our lives. I would have never thought that it would have changed my profession, and it definitely has impacted that for a little bit here. So that all to say, originally I wasn't going to plan any content that was COVID-19 related. I was just going to continue to try to plan content around encouraging people to, like I said, live authentically or create space for others to do so as well. But it's just so impactful and so huge in all of our lives that it makes no sense not to address it. So I will be creating content on COVID-19 specifically. I've already got some that I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to approach it in 2 different ways. The first is the personal side. Through my own experience, I have learned that sometimes in order to make some big shifts in living authentically, you have to... things have to break, or something has to happen, something has to give, because we do so much in our day-to-day lives to try to make everything correct and make everything work and to be okay. So it sometimes, like I said, takes some big changes in order for us to personally implement some big changes. So that is a slight positive in this terribly negative that is COVID-19, is that in some of the wreckage and some of this time post the experience, or during and post the experience, hopefully folks can look self-reflective internally, figure out some areas that they needed to do some personal work in order to present their authentic selves to the world, and like I said, make some changes that are going to last. Then the second is more focused on how we commune with other people. And no matter what your, societal level is in the world right now, COVID-19 is impacting you. Even folks that are having to work from home and have, money in the stock market, have 401ks, they're getting hit. Folks like me who are no longer able to make money doing the thing that they were doing previously, or even have lost their jobs. That's obviously pretty impactful. And then we've got folks that, don't have any money. They're going paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a lot in savings, and they have like limited or tough healthcare. So all that to say, we're all in discomfort to varying degrees, but what I'm hoping to program some content around is taking that discomfort and growing empathy with it for our fellow man, that we can hopefully utilize during this time, but then also carry us into a future together where we, again, are more empathetic to other people's lives who are different than us, and that we are more aggressive in terms of wanting to create space for them to have a seat at the table and to not be marginalized either. So those are going to be the two ways that I approach the content for COVID-19 with BraveNewLove. The next topic is wellness. And like I said, typically my wellness aspect for BraveNewLove would be mobile massage services, but due to them being paused, I've kind of shifted, and I'm currently doing a series on a term called resiliency or resilience. So a previous job that I had was for a nonprofit called Texas 4000, and they put on the largest annual charity bike ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. It was a 4,000-mile bike ride to raise money for cancer research and support services. It took 70 days. It was a huge undertaking for the riders and the cyclists that were involved. And so my job was to run that program. So to select the cyclists, to get them all trained up and ready, and help them fundraise and get them to the point where they can plan and execute this huge life experience that is undertaking a bike ride to Alaska. And over time, we already had a decent amount of training when I came on to work for the nonprofit in regards to how to train physically and how to help people on the fundraising front. But we realized that a big gap was our training and readying for the cyclists to be able to deal with the emotional and mental stressors and strains that would be associated with that huge bike ride. And that was a problem. So we wanted to fix that. I reached out to one of my professors in Health and Human Services who had studied and researched the concept of resilience, and we created a program or a training specific to the ride where we took her concepts of resiliency and applied it to the bike ride. So what I'm doing now is basically taking those concepts and those trainings that I used at Texas 4000 and then went on to use at some of my corporate jobs to do team-based trainings on resiliency at work, to apply it generally for folks in the BraveNewLove community, and then hopefully we can apply it to the current stressors and triggers that we're having with COVID-19. So if you're interested in any of that, if you want to learn more about what it looks like to be resilient or how to build resilience, I am posting on Tuesdays and Saturdays on Instagram, and I might be doing more with it in the future. So again, if that interests you or if that resonates with you, let me know in some way, and we will continue on that front. And the final piece is faith. So again, very hesitant to talk about faith in a way that I feel like would be off-putting for folks that have preconceived or just past negative experiences with faith in general. At least based off my conversations and my experiences, it seems like those negative relationships are specific to organized religion. So I don't really participate in that too much, but the thought process is what is the good that can be taken from those items. So when I do talk about more traditional things like church or anything like that, I'm wanting it to be motivational and encouraging for people that might feel lost or might feel neglected or alone. Not in a shaming way, or you need to act this certain way, or you need to do these certain things or believe these certain things. That's not what I'm about. So the thing that I wanted to spotlight was a previous post that I wrote back in January regarding faith. This past week has been tough for me in a lot of ways, just emotionally, dealing with the fact that, I'm no longer going to be able to do the thing that I love with massage and needing to kind of shift some focus in how Brave New Love spends its time. And so I find myself during those times thinking on items or experiences that give me, that inspire me or give me hope in humanity and each other and community. And so that's what the post is on. You can go to BraveNewLove.com, and then the categories are life, wellness, and faith. Go to faith. I think it's the most recent post. It's called Church of Anne Lamott, and it basically just talks through my experience of how we present ourselves in the world is not always reflective of what you can actually expect from the person, because all of those expectations are created, again, by just these like stereotypes or rules from society. I suggest a couple of thought leaders or faith leaders that I find to be extremely inspirational and helpful during tough times of my life. Anne Lamott is one of them, and then Nadia Bolz-Weber is the other one. I will link to both of them. They're linked into the blog as well, but I'll link to them as well in the post. Nadia is the specific topic of the post, and she is a tatted up, foul-mouthed Lutheran minister who basically does not fit the mold of what I was ever taught a faith leader was supposed to look like. So the idea is that because of some of those ways that she presented herself, it was a flag for me that maybe she might be someone that might accept me. And after listening to what she had to say and reading a lot of her work, I've been very moved by it. So I would love to share her with you, and if you weren't familiar with her. She does a lot of Instagram Lives, which are actually really good right now for me, like during this time. So that's it. That's life, wellness, and faith. We're going to move to our community question. So I actually had a friend in the Brave New Love community reach out with a question that was specific to children's massage. She said, "Hey Lance, got a lot of kids that are here at the house now, and we're not going outside. I would be interested in learning more about children's massage, or maybe explaining it in a way so that children kind of understand what that is. So I thought it would be a good thing to talk about here together. And it gives me an excuse to get to have a conversation about massage and body work and touch, which I will always jump at because I want to promote that in our world. So if you are like me, you might think, I don't understand why children would need to receive massage services. I don't understand the benefits of that, which is understandable because our culture, unfortunately, has tied some negative connotations with touch, which we'll get into. But there are a lot of benefits for children who want to receive massage services. It actually, through studies, there's been some proof that there is a reduction in stress and anxiety for children. I think a lot of people think of anxiety as something that it's like an adult thing, something that we do when we're having a tough job and we're working 40, 50 hours a week. And we're at computers and we're commuting in traffic and our shoulders are coming up to our ears and we're just so stressed. And that's correct. That's a decent representation of what stress is, but it's also just our body's reaction to external stressors, and children experience those. As an ADHD child, my parents can attest that I was high-strung, and I know many parents out there who have kids that have trouble relaxing, winding down, going to sleep. So these are all kind of things that massage can help with. So reduces stress and anxiety. It's also been found that children who were exposed to positive touch or physical or tactile engagement by their caretakers growing up, they report higher levels of self-esteem, less shaming themselves. They understand appropriate boundary setting as adults, and they typically report more positive and fulfilling relationships, both with friends and loved ones, as adults as well. And if you think about that, again, I think that plays into the negative connotations that our society has tied to touch. We've really sexualized touch in a lot of ways, and that causes so many problems. But if you think about it and you don't have any positive representations of touch in your life growing up, it just makes sense that you're going to have some mental health issues like later on as a result of that. Anyway, so those are some of the benefits of touch for children, touch for adults. Like, it's a good thing. Understand that massage services from a licensed massage therapist are not possible right now, but self-massage is. So that's what we're going to talk about. A couple of things to think about with children's massage. One is that they are not going to want to receive massage services as long as an adult. We're talking about like 5-10 minute like quick sessions with them, as long as they can tolerate or enjoy, and that's about it. We also don't do a lot of deep pressure with children, deep pressure being categorized as any work with like elbows or like, like I said, anything that's like more into like the deep fascia or the deep muscles. That said, even deep Swedish, or what we consider more relaxation massage that utilizes like open fists and whatnot, can provide just as much pressure that folks would need. So with those disclaimers, I'm going to have my little Calvin and Hobbes look-alike toy that I use for my ESL classes be my demo, since I don't have, or basically didn't want to make my partner like sit here and like be my demo partner. So he is going to be our child today. And we're going to show 3 different techniques that you could work or use with your children. The first one is going to be fulling. So fulling is a Swedish technique that you use the palms of your hands, and then you kind of basically envelop a limb, whether it be an arm or a leg, and you rub the palms of your hands like down the sides of it. So if we take his little arm here, see, we're going to hold it, and then we're going to put the palms of our hands, and then we're going to just like open it like that direction. We're not pressing too hard. It's not anything too intense. The idea of all of these techniques is basically just to get the blood flow going and to warm up the tissues that are more surface to the muscles. So that's fulling. You can full arms, you can full legs, you can full any like part of the body that you would normally massage just by using the heels of the palms of your hands. The next one is wringing, which I think is good for kids. It's basically just like wringing, like you're wringing a washcloth. So you wring up and down on their hands, just like that, or their arms or their shoulders. And again, we're just creating more blood flow. We're warming up the muscles, and we're basically allowing the body to get to a point where it can heal itself instead of being cold and being like stuck in positions that we don't necessarily want to hold the body in. And then the final one is kneading. So kneading is kind of this motion. It's kind of like you're kneading bread. This is the thing that you see people probably doing like on shoulders. They do a little knead with what we call a C-grip in massage, like this. So we do like a little shoulder massage. So this is what you would probably consider to be like the deepest tissue that you probably want to use with a child, in my opinion, and basically just work with them. Again, children can be squirmy. They can be like, oh no, that's ticklish, but just be patient with it and talk to them about why it's important. Hey, it's important that we make sure that your blood flow is either your blood is like getting oxygen to all of your different body parts properly, and massage can help with that. Another thing that you can say is that it can help you relax so that you can go to sleep better. And those are just a couple of reasons of why children's massage, or things you can say to have your child maybe be more interested in children's massage. Again, just take like a minute or two and practice it, and just do little spurts over time. And the ultimate idea is to increase the bond between a parent and a child, and any type of time that you spend together is going to do that. And on that note, if you have children that are cooped inside and you're trying to look for things to do, I actually have some friends who own a traveling petting zoo. Their names are Joe and Chelsea, and their petting zoo is called Tiny Tales to You. It's amazing. I've used their petting zoo for previous birthdays for myself in the past. They, unfortunately, are also being hit during this time by COVID-19 because they are no longer able to perform the zoos out in public, obviously because of the crowding concerns. But they are creating some virtual services. So I know on Wednesday mornings they do a live with their animals that you might want to check out with your kids. And then they also are adding one-on-one virtual sessions where you can basically see a Tiny Tales to You employee working with an animal and playing with the animal and telling you fun information about the animal while the kid or the child plays along and watches. So as someone who teaches ESL, I understand that the concept of virtual interaction can be foreign at first, but it really is beneficial and impactful. And so I would recommend you checking out Tiny Tales to You just as an example of something that you can do with your kids while you're social distancing and being stuck inside. And then the final thing, I'm going to put Calvin Hobbes guy down a little bit. The final thing that I wanted to do before we ended the Brave New Love live show is a shout out to a community member, and I'm going to do a shout out to my little brother Sean. It's his birthday today, and I totally understand that having a birthday during social distancing is not ideal, but Sean, just wanted to let you know that we love you. The Brave New Love community loves you, and we're happy that you're part of it. If you would like to either ask a community question in the future or have a community shout out, please reach out. You can comment on this video, you can send me a message, or you can email me at lance@bravenewlove.com. Also, if you have any commentary on anything that we've covered so far, tips, ideas, or just want to have a conversation about what's going on with your life, I'm happy to hold space for you, but I also want you to know that everyone else in this community is happy to hold space for you as well. So whether you are social distancing right now and you're all by yourself and you aren't able to be in the presence of others physically, whether you're with loved ones or whether you might be social distancing in shared spaces with roommates or something that you didn't plan on spending so much time with, know that we're here. Know that this community is, again, like a brave space for folks to try to live authentically and to get the grace that they need while they're going through the process of helping others live authentically as well. Like I said, more to come in the future. If any of this resonated with you or any of the items on Brave New Love seem of interest to you or someone else in your life, please share it. I'd love to grow the Brave New Love community during this time. But until the next Brave New Love live show, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being part of the community. Thank you so much for being here. And stay safe, flatten that curve, and be brave. All right. Thanks, guys.